Hey, what's up guys? John here. Elon Musk warns of a meltdown in the housing market. He says this is going to be fueled as well by commercial real estate. He's warning of a really big problem coming in the economy, and I've been discussing this as well on this channel, saying that really big issues are coming. You know, if we look at, just for example, 2020 to 2022, just that 2-year period, 40% of all mortgages in America were taken out during that period, and the average down payment for a first-time home buyer was only 6%. So if you think about it, the cost of selling one of those properties is probably 8%, 5% or 6% for realtor fees, plus you have closing costs, escrow fees, and miscellaneous little fees that are added. You're probably negative equity. The average person is probably negative equity, 2 or 3% immediately upon purchase. And the average down payment for a second home was 13%. So only about 5% equity inside of that deal. But when you have interest rates go from 3% to 7 or 7.5%, that equity goes completely out the window, and a lot of people are upside down on their properties. Now, what Elon Musk is warning in this video, and I'm going to break down for you, is really shocking. So please hit the like button. When you hit the like button, YouTube's going to share this video to educate more people about what's going on. If you want to invest in distressed real estate, you want to position yourself for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Fix your credit. We would love to help you if you have that problem. If your credit score is 600, 500, 400s, even low 700s, we would love to help fix your credit and give you a free consultation at greatcreditfast.com. That's greatcreditfast.com, or give us a call 561-430-5900. Now, Elon Musk warns home prices are set to plunge and says commercial real estate is in meltdown. There was a property in California that I spoke about maybe a week or so ago. It sold for over $300 million about 4 years ago. Now it's going under contract in the $60 million range, right? So they're starting to see huge markdowns on these commercial properties. And why is that? Well, commercial properties, they are in a delicate situation, especially office, because you're seeing a lot of people move out of these units, especially in cities like LA, New York, San Francisco, where it's very high tax and high cost of living and very strong regulations against business owners. You're seeing people leave. And so with that type of situation, that type of dynamic, you're having these high vacancies, rents are starting to come down, borrowing costs are going up, insurance and property taxes going up. It's an issue, right? It's a big issue. And it's actually shocking how this whole thing kind of plays out. Elon Musk is once again ringing the alarm on the U.S. housing market. Commercial real estate is melting down fast. Home values are next. Home values are next. Now, one thing that a lot of people also do not take into consideration when you think about the housing market is most people use their home as a piggy bank. They refinance it, they try to pull money out, they get a boat, they try to pay off some debt on a business, they do whatever they have to do, but a lot of people refinance their homes. How do you refinance your home if you owe more on the property than it's currently worth? Well, you don't. Right? You do not refinance that home. And so you're seeing all of these people in a situation where the labor market is starting to tighten up, cost of living is increasing, and they can no longer tap into home equity. Even if they had equity in their property, who wants to refinance at 7 or 7.5%? Right? Who can afford to even qualify for that in most cases? The tech billionaire made a comment in response to a tweet by the Kraft Ventures founder, David Sachs, who said that a big chunk of commercial real estate debt was due to mature soon. Musk has previously warned that cracks could appear in property markets following turmoil in the banking sector. For example, clean energy pioneer and commercial real estate was by far the most serious and looming issue, and cautioned regional banks could experience a wave of defaults because of their huge exposure to the sector. 67% of all mortgages, commercial mortgages, are held by regional banks, 67%. And so, if you look at what's happened over the last, call it 120 days, a lot of people are taking their money out of these small regional banks, going to Bank of America, Chase, going to Wells Fargo, going to the big banks. And so these small regional banks have less deposits on hand, so less money to invest, less money to, pull interest off of. And on top of that, their investments are not panning out very well. You look at SVB Bank, you look at Signature, you look at a lot of these banks, they're going through really big issues. Now, when you step into a situation where you're going to have commercial real estate defaults, that is going to, I believe, break the camel's back with regional banks. Not all of them, but I think a lot of regional banks are in huge trouble. The debt-fueled industry has kept investors on edge in recent months, given that it faces a raft of headwinds. These include higher interest rates, tighter credit conditions, and work-from-home trends. Now, I've discussed this, tighter credit conditions. I think some people think that I'm joking. If you look at 2008, you look at 2009, look at 2010. I'm not saying we're walking into that, but I wouldn't be shocked by any means. It could actually be worse than that, but we will see. Tighter credit conditions. During that period, only people that were really strong on paper got the funding, got the financing, were able to go out there and invest in real estate. And those people made the money. Like, those people absolutely crushed it. Look at Sam Zell. Look at a lot of these big investors. Even Blackstone, they founded Invitation Homes during that meltdown because they had access to money and they knew the value, right? And I think the same thing is going to happen again. I think we're going to see huge blocks of commercial real estate trade hands. I think we're going to see huge blocks of residential real estate trade hands. So putting yourself in a position to get funding is, I think, one of the smartest things people can do. JP Morgan estimates that about $450 billion in commercial real estate debt is set to expire this year, and it could default. So $450 billion could default. Meanwhile, Morgan Stanley wealth managers that commercial property prices could tumble 40% from their peak in light of sector troubles. Now, what does that mean? 40% from their peak. Let's say, for example, you bought a $10 million property. You put $3 million down, so you have a loan of $7 million. But the issue is that $7 million loan you locked in at 3% interest rate. Now it's 6% or 7% interest rate. And you need to refinance this because you're set to refi in December. And so what's going to happen? They're going to look at the cash flow of the building, which the last couple of years probably was lower than you anticipated. Interest rates are increasing, meaning the cost to borrow money is going to go up. So you have less money coming in and a higher cost to borrow money, and insurance and property taxes are going up. They're going to ask you to bring money to the table. They're not going to say the building's worth 10. They might say the building's worth 6. So you need to bring $2 million to the table to be able to get the funding, or $2.5 million. So you would need, in this example, you would need to bring $2.5 million to the table to get a loan on a building that's worth 6, which you've already basically lost $3 million or $4 million on paper. Right? You're going to have this situation across the board. People are just going to give back the keys in most situations, I would imagine. The U.S. housing market is also dealing with similar problems, which likely explains Musk's view that prices were set to topple. Morgan Stanley reported that home sales have bottomed at higher borrowing costs, crippled demand, with experts warning of a 15 to 20% plunge in prices. Now, I believe that it's going to be much, much worse than that, because just the last, call it 24 months, most markets increased by 15 to 20%. So if you're talking about just those gains, you're like, oh yeah, we're just going to give back those gains. That would be one thing. But if you look at where the everyday consumer is, record high credit card debt, a job market that's in big trouble, record high inflation, you're starting to see people looking at their economy, looking at their stock portfolio, looking out at the world saying, you know what, I need to put myself in a better position. I need to pull back on reckless spending and put myself into a position to be able to weather a storm. 15, 20%, I don't think so. I think that consumers are going to have less money, especially as interest rates rise, to be able to go out there and actually qualify to buy these properties. And here's what I mean. So let's say, for example, today's mortgage rates. You're looking at, let's say the average credit score in America is a 698, by the way. But let's say you're above average, right? You're 700 to 719. You're looking at a 7.72% mortgage rate. So let's just call it 7.7. We'll go down, right? And the average home in America is $429,000. But if you're in any city or if you're in any market, you're way above that. So we'll just say the average is $500,000. The monthly payment is $3,912 per month. Let's say that you're in an area where it's below the monthly average, or the average. You're $400,000. You're $3,151. This does not include increased utility bills and increased cost of living. And so for you to be able to qualify for that property of a below national average home, you would need to make $10,000 a month really to qualify for that. $10,000 per month to qualify. Who can do that? Who can really afford that? But if it were, let's say, a mortgage rate of 3%, like what we were used to before, $2,000. That's manageable. Right? A lot of people can afford that, especially when you consider, the average rent in America is probably around $1,800 to $2,000. So you have a different relationship with real estate at 3% versus 7%. So they go on to say, moreover, lenders are pulling back in preparation for further bank runs after wave of deposit withdrawals toppled Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank in March. These forces are putting downward pressure on asset prices, fanning fears that prices of houses in commercial real estate spaces could suffer. I fully agree. I was as I've talked very vocally on this channel, that I said the best time to sell real estate was between 2020 and 2021. That was when everyone was talking about it was the best time to invest in real estate. I follow a model from Carl Icahn. He said, my job as an investor is to sell when everybody wants to buy and to buy when everyone wants to sell. We were in a period where it was an incredible time to sell, and I think we're going to be stepping into a period where it's going to be an incredible time to buy. Miami and Miami Beach commercial real estate sales volume dropped 80%. 80%. A lot of people say, it's just, certain areas, it's just California, it's just New York, it's just, you're seeing it in Miami as well. You're going to see, there's going to be some areas that are going to get hit harder than others, no doubt. But, this isn't a small number, 80%, not by any stretch of the imagination. Foreclosure filings jump 120% in Syracuse. Foreclosures are up, but is the housing market headed for a crash with car repossessions and home foreclosures rising? Some Americans are living on a financial cliff. Houston apartment owner loses 3,200 units to foreclosure as multifamily feels the heat. Single-family home inventory rises 119% over the last year. Yeah, what do you think about this? What do you think? Do you think that we're going to step into a situation where we're going to see all these property owners that have very limited equity in their homes, they're back against the wall saying, you know what, I either walk away from this property or I rent it out? I personally think that's what we're walking into. I think we're going to see a really, really big change. And I think that if you position yourself well over the next 12, 24, 36 months, you will make an absolute fortune and your future will be taken care of. Your family will be taken care of. But the next couple years, next few years are going to be so important. Drop your comments below, hit the like button, subscribe. I'm on my second channel. Also, I have a call-in show that's going to be coming this week, which is going to be kind of like a Dave Ramsey style call-in show. I'm really looking forward to that. And again, if you need help fixing your credit, we'd love to help you at greatcreditfast.com. That's greatcreditfast.com. Give us a call at 561-430-5900. Catch you guys in the next video.